This is Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hearst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, sweeps to his right, gets to the 20. He's at the 30. Needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Breaks the third tackle. Comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hearst.
Young, back to throw. In trouble. He's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs. Gets away again. Goes to the 40. Gets away again. To the 35. Cuts back at the 30. To the 20. The 50. The 10. He dies. Touchdown 49ers.
7 on the New Orleans 27-yard line. 49ers in the backfield. It's on third down. He'll take it himself for a first down. And one. Touchdown. It's in. Touchdown.
His left hip. Third down. Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down. Post. And it's good. Touchdown. Touchdown 49. It's second down. Ryan takes the snap, goes to slant to the left side. It's Michael. Intercepted. The 49ers cricket. And Navarro Bowman. He's rejected. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater rejection.
Kaepernick gets it. Hold everybody. Tom Kaepernick. What a game. Touchdown.
Click, click, boom! Since Mike is not ready yet, he's walking, playing around with his dog and everything else. But what is going on, faithfuls? We are back. Myself, Wayne, Brian, and Mike. We are back again to bring you another fun-filled episode here on the Nothing But Niners podcast. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Bang, bang. Let's put it up there. Hit that like and subscribe button. Give us a follow on Twitter and Snapchat. That's Nothing But 9ERS. Instagram and Facebook and Twitch as well. Nothing But Niners, all spelled out. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at nb9ers@nothingbutniners.com. Make sure you visit www.nothingbutniners.com, as well as our shop for all of our merch. I'm not wearing a hat tonight. Neither is Wayne. And I don't believe Mike is either. And that is shop nb9ers.com. That's pretty much it for the formalities, guys. I know I'm trying to go through them as fast as I possibly can. But first and foremost, Wayne, before we get to anything, man, I want to introduce Brian because Brian is a new addition to our team here. He is one of our writers that does writing for FTFN, for Fan to Fan Network. So make sure you guys give us a follow over there as well. But Brian, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Just here to see how you're doing and talk about the game.
Nice, man. Just give a little bit of background on you. Where are you from and how you became a Niners fan?
Born and raised a Niners fan. I'm from Oregon. I'm back in Oregon after being in the military for 20 years and just trying to get back into the football. I mean, I was while I was in the military, I kind of missed out a little bit on it, being gone a lot. And the last couple of years, I've just been really getting back into it and look at things a lot from a financial standpoint. So that's kind of where I get a lot of my gist for my articles and stuff, is just looking at the numbers and seeing what's really possible and how hard it's going to be next year. If you think this year's bad, next year is going to be worse. Just looking at, free agents we got to sign and the money we don't have, and everybody wants to sign these flashy receivers right now. And that's just not something that we can really afford to be doing.
Right. Well, guys, give Brian a big welcome, man, here to the NBN family. You know how we always do it, man, always adding additions to the team as well. So, Brian, before we get started, man, I just want to thank you for your service. I know a lot of people in the room are saying that as well.
For sure.
Thank you.
Melissa says, nice to see you, Brian. Welcome. Thank you for your service.
Oh, this is Wayne's girl.
That's Wayne's girl. That's right.
That's my boo-boo. Yeah. Yo, listen,
you want to fight with you.
We was going
Empire 999.
It was heavyweight fight, man. Heavyweight fight.
So, look, guys. Wayne, what's going on, man? What's up with you?
Hey, man, this has been a real weekend. You know what I'm saying? And then now my week is starting off, a little slow. But it's cool. I'm good. It's good to be here. It's good to chop it up with the fellas. You know what I'm saying? Talk some Niners stuff, man. got a chance to rewatch the game a couple of 3 times, and definitely want to talk about some of the stuff we thought we saw that we didn't see, and some of the stuff we didn't see that we thought we saw. So yeah, let's get it in.
Gotcha, man. Mike, what's up, man? I know you're taking the dog for a walk out there, getting your cigar in. So what's up?
Either, baby, if you have something. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing on the show, man? Good to hear you guys all talking, doing well. I know Breezy.
Yo, Mike,
game,
why do you
feeling
freaking watch
game,
basketball, bro? Because I feel like you low key are trying to throw a dagger in my gut, but you're not.
No, man. Look, I know. Look, today was a big day for Boston versus Miami. It happened in baseball and it happened in basketball. I was just wondering how you felt about everything.
I'm good, man. It was a tough loss in overtime. I can't take these overtime games anymore. Tough loss, but let's talk Niners, Mike. Mike, I'm good, man. I'm not taking shots at you, bro. It's just you only talk about me when my team lose, but it's cool.
It's cool, Brian, man. Welcome, man. Glad to have you here, bro.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, look at that. He got it right on the first time. He got it right on the first time. Breezy's like,
wait, some of you regulars, man.
How did you do that, Breezy? Like, Breezy's like, wait, how'd you do that, Brian?
You just got to backwards.
It's cool. Y'all got it. I don't still.
It's that inverted military thinking there. That's what that is. See, he's got it. He's got it there.
He's 10 years in the submarine force, you know.
Look, guys, man, it's been what's today? Tuesday. So it's been 2 days since the loss the 49ers took 24-20 against the Arizona Cardinals. Wayne, you said you rewatched it, man. So give me one of the biggest points that you took away from watching that game over again. Well, the 3 times you watched it over, and then we'll go on to Brian and Mike as well.
Well, after rewatching the game a few times, even though you know how we kind of went up with a 10.0 lead, it seemed like you thought the 49ers were going to run away with the game, but I still felt the 49ers came out slow. Like they didn't have stuff together on the offensive side. Like things weren't clicking the way that it appeared to, because all that stuff was kind of like going out the door because we were up 10-0. And then after, when I went back to rewatching, I'm like, dang, we missed this third down. Like we didn't score a touchdown on the first drive, got 3 points out of it. You know what I'm saying? At home, you gotta be diligent. You got to go out there and get it. And I just didn't think that the 49ers were ready. They didn't look ready. They didn't look all together. The defense looked sharp, but then the defense looked gassed, right? If you watch the whole game, it was just awkward, man. It was awkward. Very awkward.
It's funny because that's the one thing that I had stated, if you guys remember, is how this team comes out, right? And it like overexcited, right? Were they going to come out overexcited? Were they going to be able to keep it in the hatch, I guess you could say, right? And we scored 10 points and we're up 10-0. But that was really, that first field goal. And then obviously, you move on and then you get the big play by Raheem Mostert to put us up 10-0. And then from there, it was just, go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, you didn't even talk about how we got the first field goal. No one mentions that penalty that we got that moved us up, some yards to get in field goal position. Like I totally forgot about that watching the game. And then when I went back to rewatching, I'm like, we was helped. We're not helped, but we had a penalty. We got a penalty, and it got us in the field goal position. We still couldn't have capitalized off it. And our red zone offense is trash. Always has been, always will be. This is not a shoot the 49ers down. They still had they had 95 opportunities to win this game, and they failed. Yeah.
So Brian, you had a chance to go back and watch it, right? And what were your thoughts taking, what are the thoughts that you took from watching it a second time or a third time, whatever, how many times you watched it?
Well, I'd tell you the first thing that I was really excited about was the fact that Robbie Gould made a field goal past the 50 yards. That was because last year that was kind of his Achilles, right? I thought, just from my watching it, I know some people will disagree, but I think that the O-line really pulled together for as last minute as it seemed as that kind of put together. I don't know how much, obviously I'm not at camp, so I don't know how much Grasu actually got to be in that mix full, with the first string. And so sitting in there with him and Brunskill, I felt like almost Brunskill got pushed around more than Grasu did. And so I don't know. I obviously he's better than, in my opinion, better than Tom Compton. And so Brunskill's the guy that should be in that spot. but I felt like Grasso held his own, and that makes me feel positive because I don't know how long Garland's going to be out. And having that, dedicated center position, is vital for all offenses, but definitely in ours. So it's kind of my takes were those two things.
Yeah, Mike, I saw you shaking your head when he said that as well. With Brunskill getting pushed around a little bit, I thought Brunskill played poorly as well as Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, the whole right side.
I thought the entire right side, and Grasso held his own, but Brunskill as well as Mike McGlinchey, just got beat up all day long. Obviously there were some plays where they had to hold a little bit longer, so 3, 4, 5 seconds, because of the Jimmy Garoppolo holding the football. But what were your thoughts on the right side of the line, Mike?
I'll be honest with you guys, man. It wasn't just the right side either. I saw Tomlinson get a little work in there too, man. I saw him on his back a couple of times. But I like Brian's take where he said Grasso looked a little bit better overall than Brunskill. And I don't really fault Brunskill for that. I mean, he's been going back and forth at multiple positions where Grasso got to play one position and one position only. He was never working out at guard just in case, where Brunskill has been playing guard and center back and forth all over the line. It's no fault to his own. And he wasn't horrible. I mean, he wasn't as bad as what was the dude's name? Something to do with like a instrument. What was the guard we had? It was like 3 seasons ago, guys. He played the trombone or something like that. What was that dude? The saxophone, the tuba. Oh my God, this is gonna drive me crazy. Oh, you guys know who I'm talking about too. It's all right. You guys we'll figure. Someone in the comments will say it. He was a really Zane Beatles. God.
Oh, Zane Beatles. Yeah, from the Jaguars. He was trash.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking about, man. Zane Beetle.
We got him the same
Jordan
time we got.
Devy. No, it was Jordan Devy. That's who it was. It was Jordan Devy.
They both were trash.
Yeah, they were both bad, but he wasn't as bad as Devy, so it was cool. Like I didn't hate him on that. But
Jordan Devy was dookie.
He was from the Patriots, and Beatles was from the Jaguars. And we were just trying to make up an offensive line. We was just trying to put something together, yo.
But for the most part, the left side of the line, obviously Trent Williams played really well. Laken Tomlinson, I thought I only seen him give up one pressure, but I don't know, for a fact or what his. Obviously the PFF and stuff like that was, but I did see one pressure that he gave up. But for the most part, the left side played a lot better than the right side, right? And how bad? Well, I don't want to say how bad, but how much do you think? How possible do you think it is for our right side of our offensive line to get better? Do you think they just had a bad game? Do you think it was just the chemistry that was there on the right hand side, or is this an issue that we need to look forward to? Or look forward to happening more and more as the season goes along? And let's go Wayne first.
I mean, the offensive line is going to get better, guys. We can kind of relax. It's going to get better. Guys are going to come back off being injured, and we're going to get guys back in there that are built to be in this chemistry for the offensive line. And once the offensive line is solidified and back together, you're going to see strength. But in the meantime, like, they're going to have to work with what they have and try to figure things out and run plays that are going to work. Like, that's just run things that are going to be successful for this particular type of offensive line. You can't go into this offensive line and run page 75 from your playbook if the center doesn't know pages 1 through 74. Like, you just can't do that. So I think that's why we may not have seen a lot of creativity on this past Sunday, due to the fact that we had a new guy in there. But I thought Grasso played well. And I mean, Jimmy was sacked 3 times. He was pressured a few more times. The offensive line has to be better. We want our quarterback to play better, and we want him to make these throws and things like that. And he just needs to know he's protected and whatever. I can't explain what's going on in Jimmy's head. I just know that the offensive line just needs to be solidified at some point, and I feel like it's going to get better over time. The more they play together, the finer we're going to be. Just like when we had Garland last year. When he came in, it was almost like we didn't skip a beat. Did he have a bad game here and there? Absolutely. I didn't think he had a good Super Bowl, But my point is he was able to fill in, and I think Grasu is going to be able to do that until either Garland or Richburg comes back, whoever is healthier first.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously we get Richburg back at week 6, right?
He's week 6, right? He's eligible week 6.
Right, eligible to come back week 6. But let me ask you this, right? So we just talked about the offensive line play, and we know that Jimmy Garoppolo has been getting a ton of slander, whether it's Facebook, any social media platform, right? Twitter, Facebook, wherever it may be. Do you think that it was that Jimmy's problem was because of the offensive line, or do you think that there were issues that Jimmy Garoppolo was going through himself? So we talked about the offensive line and the play on the right-hand side. Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo was more flustered because of offensive line play, or was it just because we know Jimmy Garoppolo. He holds the football sometimes too long. He doesn't make a lot of throws. And to me, I'm just going to give you my opinion on this real quick, is almost every single throw was a high throw. There was nothing everything was pretty much high. Guys had to go up and get it, whether they were just leaving their toes to get it. It was never anything flat-footed, just a catch right there, bang, bang, go. So what are your thoughts? Do you think some of it had things to do with Jimmy Garoppolo's mechanics and the way that he was maneuvering around the pocket, or do you think a lot of it is to be taken as poor offensive line play on the right side? Mike, we'll go with you first.
All right. So this is what I really want to jump on for. I owe Jimmy Garoppolo an apology. I came on the show and I blasted him on the Overreaction show. And I blasted him in the chat, in the text with us and everything. I'm not sure if I did it online or not, but Jimmy Garoppolo, I went back and I watched this game a couple of times. And I started with different position groups, and I started with the quarterback and all that. And every time I watched, I tried to watch something different. What I noticed was Jimmy Garoppolo was actually having a really solid game before he almost got Kittle killed. And I think that got in his head. His timing was good, and I think he just began to overthink. And listen, we can say that, he's a quarterback, he's a paid professional, he's still human. And when people get rattled for whether it be a big hit, whether because he realized he almost Jimmy Garoppolo probably feels about George Kittle the way the rest of the team feels about Jimmy Garoppolo. We need him to get through this season successfully. And I don't think Jimmy would have been able to forgive himself had something happened to Kittle on that play. I don't think it's a coincidence that Jimmy didn't throw to him at all for the rest of the game. I think all these things played a part. And there's a lot of pros and cons. I mean, I convinced myself that we should be worried. When's the last good game Jimmy Garoppolo had as a quarterback, right? A lot of people are going to say the Saints. That was over 10 games ago. That's a long time for us to sit here and say that he's an MVP candidate, or that's what we're hoping for. And he hasn't had a good game in 10 games. That's more than half a season, right? But the way he started the game, we were moving the ball successfully. Those first 3 drives, even after they blocked the punt, they were moving the ball successfully. We ended up going for it on that 4th down. Remember that run to Mostert? I mean, they marched all the way down the field. They were on it. They were down. They might not have resulted in points and things like that, but they were definitely trying. And Jimmy was okay all the way up until the point that he almost got Kittle, his leg ruined. So I think he'll shake it off, and I think that he'll bounce back a little bit better.
All right, let's go with Brian. What are your thoughts, Brian, on what Mike said? You can collab on that as well as your own thoughts on the whole situation.
No, I agree to an extent. He definitely had a different change of pace or whatever after Kittle's throw, and he just seemed to be off pretty much the rest of the night. So I'm on board with what Mike's saying there. I think that I don't know how much, because I'm obviously not a professional player, but I don't know how much he's going to take into situations like the Super Bowl with Sanders. I mean, does he blame himself for that long ball? Is he trying to compensate or change something in his mechanics? I'm not at camp. I don't see this. I don't know what's going on. So I'm curious of what's going on in his head as to his confidence. Was it shaken by that, and has he gotten past it? And is that going to affect, not having that preseason, even though the starters don't really do anything except for game 3, really? you know, how much is that going to affect him through the season? I mean, I hope that it works itself out. And, you know, I know that we had talked before about, you know, maybe Shanahan's game plan wasn't for as much action with the wide receivers because of the situation. But I think that he needs to have more confidence in what he's doing. It just felt like he was a little rattled, even from the beginning. I mean, I want to say like the pass to Jordan Reed seemed to be pretty much on cue where it should have been, but almost every other pass seemed to be either low, behind, or you know, over their head, to where you got these receivers just exposing themselves. You know, we just can't do that.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with you. I agree with Mike. I also agree with Nick. His passes weren't all on target. I would say this: when the 49ers needed to score, them passes was on target. I'm talking target to where they can catch. You know how you spam the X button on Madden so you can fall down and catch the ball and fall down? Those passes were on those type of darts. So Jimmy G has the accuracy, especially in the quick game. That's probably why I was getting so upset, because I couldn't figure out why we wouldn't stick to that. Why did he always have to drop back and try to go for this deep pass down the field like multiple times if he's not connecting? When he connects on it, obviously his confidence is going to be great or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But we were really chewing these guys up across the middle of the field. It was like they couldn't figure it out, just like we couldn't stop Kyler Murray across the middle of the field. Like either it was Hopkins or he was running, right? Those were his only two options. Hey, Hopkins, you get open. Yes, if so, I'm throwing you the dart. If not, I'm taking it off and running. And I think his tight end had a couple of catches as well. But my point is, I'm not worried about Jimmy Garoppolo. I've been saying that since the overreaction show. I've been tweeting it. I've been trying to put out messages to tell y'all to just chill, just relax. He's going to be fine. We've watched him be better than this. Did he struggle this game? 100% he struggled. He knows he struggled. When it came to making certain throws, he knows he's got to make those throws. He knows he's got to put more air, more touch on those passes so that his receivers can have better opportunities to get it. I absolutely agree with Mike. I think he felt some type of way in his head to say, oh my gosh, what if Kittle doesn't come back for the rest of the season? What did I just do? Like, I can't. You ever did something wrong and you felt bad because you affected someone else and you just weren't on point? That's the human part. Now, the question is, if George was cool, if they could get together and he can find a way to tell Jimmy, yo, shake it off, man. It's cool. Maybe I shouldn't have jumped for it. Maybe I shouldn't have did this. Maybe I shouldn't have did that. Whatever. I'm good. I'm healthy. I'll be back. We're going to play. Jimmy's just got to go out here and just be the gunslinger that he is. That's what Mike wants. That's what Breezy wants. Just be a gunslinger. I don't care if we throw the interceptions anymore. We cry about Jimmy throwing interceptions, and then we cry about Jimmy not throwing the ball deep enough. Which one do y'all want? Y'all want him to gunsling and make mistakes, or y'all want him to play a non-mistake game but not make perfect throws?
I want accuracy, Wayne. Accuracy.
I understand that. Trust me, I get it. And accuracy is going to come the more he plays. You got to understand this dude. He played one full season his whole career.
You're right, 100%.
One full season his whole career, guys. One.
You know, I want to agree with Mike on thinking that maybe that was in Jimmy's head, right? But you're a professional athlete, bro. Like, whatever happens, you need to get over and continue to play the game. You can't let stuff ruin you. Now, whether or not that's the case, I understand where Mike's coming from with it, and I understand that, you know, Jimmy's like, damn, I threw that ball up or did this, and I put my player at risk. But you still have to move on. You still have to go on throughout the game. You have to find a way to fight through whatever that is that you're facing in that specific time or that specific game and move forward. Like I said earlier, I think that he looked good in the beginning. Whatever it was that made him fall apart in the end, you know, he was hitching more. His balls were up in the air more. His vision downfield was horrible. His vision downfield was horrible. He had the straight tunnel vision. Seemed like the entire third quarter. The entire third quarter was tunnel vision.
Wouldn't you agree that he looked like he was avoiding contested catches?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Why?
Because he almost got someone hurt. Look, I know you said that he's a professional and you got to shake it off and all that, but it's still like what Breezy was saying. There's a human element to it. It's not just a professional thing, right? It's the first game of the season. It's the first game of the season, right? And they were probably going out there saying, look, guys, we want to win them all, but look, we're not going to go out here and kill ourselves. You know, they want to get through this thing safely at a certain point. They were already down wide receivers. Then you get George Kittle hurt. You got to start thinking long term. We got to get out this game alive. We have to get out this game with valuable pass catchers. Richie James gets hurt early in the game. Now the Niners are signing new wide receivers. They're working out people. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a reason this stuff is happening. And you can't just say, oh, well, ignore it. Keep going. You can't. You're down 3 pass catchers in the first half. You can't just ignore it. So I think there's a human element to all of this that we would love to just be like, oh, go out there and keep slinging it. But then, all right, he goes and he does that. And then Kendrick Bourne or Dante Pettis or Trent Taylor gets hurt. Like these are people that all of a sudden have to be replaced. The team is now put in a position where they're going to have to cut somebody that they think is valuable because you made a bad throw. I think he was too worried about throwing down the field or into anything that was a contested zone. And he just wanted to take the check downs or the safe throws. And if I couldn't try to lead somebody, then I'm not going to really throw it in there. I don't want anyone having to have to deal with jump balls or like that, anything like that anymore. I just think that it rattled him mentally. And he'll bounce back. Look, guys have bad games.
I think he'll definitely bounce back. I don't disagree. And this is a perfect stretch for him to bounce back, right? So Arizona obviously last year played us really, really tough for 2 games, right? The one game, came down to overtime, I believe. But look, he's got a perfect stretch. He's got the Giants, the Jets, Miami, or Philadelphia, Miami. That's a 4-game stretch. We could easily, if played correctly, could be 4-1 going into week 6, right? We could easily be 4-1 going into week 6. But my thought process on this whole thing is Jimmy needs to be better. In the long run, Jimmy needs to be better. And that's my thought on it. It's not that I'm saying cut Jimmy Garoppolo or Jimmy's poop or garbage or whatever, but he does need to get better. He does need to be better. And his reads is probably what bothered me the most out of the entire game.
Yeah.
He had guys wide open all over the field and would not throw the football.
Yeah.
Even when they were by themselves.
I really wonder what he was seeing. Is that the tunnel vision you're talking about? Because that's what I'm saying. He clearly missed Mostert in the end zone. He clearly missed Pettis on a pass. But a lot of it has to do with having confidence in where you're throwing. And if he felt like a safety was going to come over and make a play, he wasn't trying to throw the ball there, bro. He did that one time when he was scrambling on the outside and it was an interception, but luckily it was pass interference. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's trying to play. I think Jimmy G's trying to play mistake-free football, and he's not being Jimmy G. And I think he needs to just go out there and be Jimmy G, and whatever mistakes we get. Matter of fact, Jimmy G not good until he throw 2 picks a game. Like, did he forget that? Did he forget? He must forgot. I'll text him and remind him, listen, we need 2 picks from you so you can go out there and just shake. He shakes that off really well, right? But you see how he can't shake off almost getting his star player injured? So I think there's some stuff in there, man. Jimmy G just got to go out there. You're right. He has to be better, but I really don't think he brought – I don't think a lot of the 49ers brought their A games. And I want to talk about that one pass, right? Because that was a dart. And I heard that any quarterback can throw that pass. For sure. For sure they can. And not any running back can run that pass in and make that, the linebacker miss. But if we take the 76-yard pass away from Jimmy G, then you're taking the 76-yard catch pass away from Raheem Mostert. If I take that shit away, Raheem Mostert had a whack-ass game. Now say something, because that means he would have had 3 catches for 20 yards and 15 rushes for 50 yards. So talk to me.
Why are we talking about taking it away? What happened? What am I missing?
Because people were saying, oh, Jimmy G, one of his – because remember I posted he had 259 yards, 19 for 33, 259. Well, one of his catches was for 75 yards, and that was all the work of Raheem Mostert. No doubt. I'm not –
Listen, people would say take that stuff away. And I will say this for the final time probably all season. If people say I'm just going to ignore them, because if you've watched any Kyle Shanahan system, those plays happen all the time. It's by design. And not every quarterback can deliver it. We have seen C.J. Beathard struggle to deliver those kind of passes, right? I mean, you have to hit these guys in stride. You have to hit them when they're open. You have to make the pull at the right time. And a lot of the times, what people don't realize, you have to look off certain defenders. You got to look a certain way to get the defender to take a step in the opposite direction. If you watch that play, there was somebody who was right there, pretty close to Mostert, shook him off, and then he's gone. Jimmy's got to look that guy off and then deliver the ball. It's a blink of an eye thing, and I'm not saying that Jimmy deserves all kinds of crazy, praise for that play, but we can't take it away. If you're taking it away, you're taking away Kyle Shanahan. That's the system, guys.
So let me ask you guys this, and whoever wants to answer it first can answer it first, right? So we're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. We're talking about the receivers. We're talking about how we feel like he kind of held back, trying not to get people hurt. But Kyle Shanahan straight said in his presser that the receivers were not a big part of this game plan going into the game. So why is that? Why is that? You got a guy that you drafted in the 3rd round, a guy who stepped up tremendously last year in Kendrick Bourne and was a number 1 guy last year on this football team, and you're going in with those 2 guys. Why are you making it a factor in your game plan not to factor the wide receivers in and say that you kind of push them to the side for the game plan for this week because you were short on receivers? Why is that?
I think we should let Brian go first because we haven't heard from him in a while. But who's the 3rd round guy you're talking about?
Pettis.
Dante Pettis.
Isn't Pettis the 2nd round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is 2nd, 3rd. I thought
Beathard was 3rd.
My bad.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping. I just want to make sure I knew who you were talking about.
My bad.
Okay.
No, I mean, for me, it was kind of a toss-up. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what was going on. Is it confidence? Was he having he's been in the system for a full year last year, right? He shouldn't be slow to process his check downs and his receivers. But was it, even when I was watching it the second time, is it his inability to process the information that's happening on the field, or was Arizona's coverage secondary just that tight in this game? Because there were several times when I saw receivers that it looked like he wanted to go to, but didn't. And like you said earlier, it could have been because there were closed windows. They may have been a contested catch. He just didn't want to throw that interception because there was so much made out of that last year with his ratios, right? And so, like I said at the beginning of the show, I think that his confidence is a little rattled. One, from the Super Bowl. I mean, that you want to argue about whether it was Sanders or his throw was off. Everybody's going to have their own thought process on that. But now I forgot where I was going with it. But I think that overall his confidence is what the issue is. At least to me, that's what it seemed like. He just seemed hesitant to make certain throws. And when he did decide to make throws, I don't know if the brace was an issue for him. I don't know, but he just seemed like he was off. He was, like I said earlier, he was throwing the balls high. He was throwing them behind his receivers. But again, Nick, I'm curious as to why Shanahan wasn't putting the receivers as a priority. Why is that not a big part of your game plan? I mean, you still had you spent all offseason talking Pettis up. So show us why is this not part of your plan? That part I just didn't understand.
Yeah, and that's what and Wayne, I want you to answer that because we understand that he was off and he wasn't he's had so much time to get this system down and things like that. But then you come out and you literally publicly say that the wide receivers weren't a big part of this game plan going into the game plan itself anyway. But then on top of that, neither were your tight ends, like your Jordan Reeds, your Ross Dwelleys, your George Kittles. George Kittle got hurt, but you got 4 active tight ends in the game right there. So you could have built a game plan around your tight ends and your running backs, but it looked like we just focused on screens out of the backfield and nothing downfield, nothing really across field. And if it was across middle of the field, it was more with the running backs. So why do you publicly come out and say that you're going into a game basing stuff off of without having wide receivers?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Kyle Shanahan was taking this game lightly. And it just seemed like if he could win the game a different way, he was going to try to do that. And he almost did. And we've seen him do this before. We've seen this in the Atlanta Falcons game. And I know we don't want to say that he was calling vanilla type base plays, but when Kyle put his foot on the gas and called certain plays, did we not watch them work like in a flash? So
Yeah.
Go
Sorry.
ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it almost seemed like what you were talking about earlier, Breezy, was like it was almost like Jimmy G has muscle memory for those quick passes and things that he has to do and process instantly. But when he has time to think about it, it seemed like things were not being processed, or that he was taking too many things into consideration instead of just playing football. Man, throw that ball.
But that's play calling, right? That's for me. You want your quarterback to do that stuff. I get it. That's what Mike and I was arguing about the other day. Like, you expect your quarterback to make these throws and to do this type of things. But if you see it's not working as the head coach, if it's not working, at some point you just got to hold your balls and say, look, let's go back to what's working and let's go ahead and win this game. So to me, it just seemed like Kyle Shanahan treated this game like a preseason game. I swear to goodness, I know you don't want to say, I'm not saying it was preseason. I'm just saying it just seemed like he treated it like a preseason game. Look,
Breezy, I don't think it was just Kyle. I mean, it seemed like the whole team was slightly deflated.
That's my point. That was the game plan. I just felt like that was the plan. Yo, we're going to come out here. This is what we're going to run. We're going to do this. If it works, we win. Cool. If not, cool. Like, that's how I'm taking it.
You could see on the other side of the ball, I mean, the defense, you could see how much they feed off of the energy of the faithful sitting in those stands and just roaring.
Nick mentioned that.
And not having that. It just seemed like they were deflated. There was no intensity. I mean, I'm not gonna say there was no intensity. I mean, they're out there hitting each other hard, but it's I feel like it just they're missing that element, and it's going to affect. I mean, I'm worried that it's going to have effect the whole season.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because speaking of defense, did you guys get a chance to hear Dante Whitner speak on the Matt Mayoko show? Did you hear him talk about his who they asked him, who did he feel like, lost the game or whatever? And he was like, listen, I know we can sit here and blame Jimmy G and we could do this or do that. But he was like, yo, it was the secondary. It was the defense. He was like, you can't get those penalties called on you, blah, 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 whatever, come down the stretch and stuff like that. You got to remain disciplined. And I know those penalties didn't look like they were penalties, but the refs still found ways to call those joints penalties. And you just got to play better. When I swear the defense won this game. They had Kyler Murray in the end zone, throwing out of the end zone on some intentional grounding, and you get a freaking 5-yard hold on way
called pass interference on that. It wasn't even a hold.
Whatever it was on the other side of the field. I thought it was a hold. I thought that was the hold, and the other one was pass interference. I thought that one was the hold. And then the one that should have been a hold.
Oh, the one on K'Wan Williams where he wasn't even wrapped around him or anything.
Bingo. And my thing was just like, gosh, they did it. And then after that, the defense deflated. So we saw deflation all across the field. Sorry, Mike, go ahead. You saw deflation on all three waves.
I think the defense came out hype. You could see them trying to generate their own juice. Fred Warner would make a play. He would get a bang in his hands. Clap, 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 clap. He would be really hyping guys up, high-fiving people. Let's get back to it. He's out there doing this over with his hands. Like, let's go. Let's keep up the energy, right? But I want to get back to the question about why Shanahan said what he said about the receivers and why he come out not using them, right? I think that if you listen to the post-game presser, you listen to what he was saying leading up to it, they were hopeful that Deebo would be available week 1. And they also were hopeful that Ayuk would be ready. So maybe when he realized, damn, it's only 4 guys here, one of them's only a kick return specialist. Let's be honest. We barely ever see Richie James. All right, let's come up with a different game plan. We have 4 really good, healthy running backs. Let's use them. And he did. And he used them a lot, right? And another apology I have to issue is how I called out the head coach that we didn't get to see the pressers, but I guess the media, the press was able to see it first. So then they were able to put out quotes.
Yep.
And he said something about the wide receivers weren't part of the game plan. And I was like, that sucks for Kendrick Bourne to put in all that work this offseason, right? And then he finally gets this opportunity to show he could be a top, receiver on this team, not so much in the league, but a top receiver in this league, in this team. And then the coach say, yeah, you're not part of the game plan. I was like, that's insulting. I want to apologize about that in particular, specifically because I mentioned Kendrick Bourne by name. Because here's the thing. On that first down, on our final 4 plays, the 4th down play was the one to Trent Taylor that got broken up. But on first down, that drive, he threw it to Kendrick Bourne, and Kendrick Bourne didn't try to play through it to draw the flag. Had Kendrick Bourne had caught that, he would have been the hero. The game would have been over. And all of a sudden, the conversation changes amongst 49ers land, amongst the division and all that stuff. Everything is completely different. Kendrick Bourne has a game-winning catch. All that hard work this offseason paid off, and everybody would have been congratulating him on that play. Shanahan called the play for him between the throw being bad and between him not fighting through the defender to at least draw the flag. It didn't work out. But Shanahan did give his hardworking wide receiver the opportunity to be the hero when it all is said and done. So I owe him an apology. I can't fault these guys for what didn't work. What we're supposed to do.
When that first happened, Mike, and I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say what we're supposed to do is look at what was called. Now, whether it's executed or not, it's not on the coach. That's not Shanahan's fault. But I did say that Shanahan really insulted him by not giving that to him, and I was wrong. I owe him an apology for that. He called Bourne's number to put that game away, and the play was there. If Jimmy had thrown it better, or if Bourne fought through it a little bit more, we would have had the ball on the 1 yard line, or it would have been a touchdown. And I guarantee you with 4 tries, we end that game in the end zone. I guarantee you we end it in the end zone. But it just didn't happen that way. But the call was there. We have to look at what they attempted to do. And he called his number, man. So I owe them an apology for that. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, when that play first happened, right, I was like, I'm watching and I'm like, why is Kendrick Bourne like just like this, like waiting for the ball to come to him, right, instead of going after the football? Now, I don't know if he would have or if he wouldn't have, but if that was Deebo Samuel, I think he would have went up and tried to get the football. And now, that's not taking all away from Kendrick Bourne, but like you said also, going back and watching it, the ball was a tad underthrown. But that still doesn't mean the receiver shouldn't go and try to make a play on the ball instead of waiting for the football to come to him.
Yeah, whenever you see a ball underthrown, you got two options, right? One, you're going to try to make a play on the ball, or you're going to become the defender, right? And make sure that it doesn't get intercepted. And with Peterson's head not being turned around, that was an easy PI. Now, I know we wanted it to be perfect, but come on.
Look, I see Dre commenting here. Bro, I don't care. I've gone miles for Kendrick Bourne, but this time Kendrick Bourne is wrong. Kendrick Bourne is wrong. Whether the throw is short,
he ran the route right.
Whether it's going to Peterson's helmet or whatever it may be, he's got to go up and try to draw a flag on that play and try to make the catch instead of sitting there waiting for the ball to come to him.
I don't know what comment in particular you're talking to, but even Shanahan said, first of all, another comment he said was after he reviewed the game,
he said it.
The receivers did a phenomenal job. He said they did their job. They got separation and everything. He gave the receivers their praise, right? But the thing is, he also said the veteran move would have been for Bourne to go through the defender to draw the flag. And he said Bourne will learn from that. You guys got to remember that as much as we like Bourne, as long as he's been in the league, he doesn't get those kind of opportunities often. He doesn't know you might not be able to catch this, but at least if you run into him with him being face to face with you, that's going to be a flag. He doesn't know that because he's never been in that situation. He's going to learn from it. And Shanahan even agreed with it.
And 100% he will learn from it. 100% he will learn from it. I'm just saying that game is a different game. If his mindset is there, you want to be a number 1, a number 2, a number 3 guy. You should know these type of things. And he should have, not that he's ever been in that situation, so I'll cut him some slack. But you still, as a receiver, you're taught go up and get the ball. Like wherever it is, that's your job. And he had all the room in the world to go up and make a play on the ball. It wasn't like he went into the back of the end zone. It wasn't like, he had no space and that somebody was all over him. All you have to do is jump into the defender.
Just jump.
Where the defender's head is turned around.
Put your hands out.
Jump, and it's a penalty. Or you come down with the football and it's a touchdown.
Yeah. And, we saw that happen a lot with Marquise Goodwin the first year here. A lot of passes to Goodwin were underthrown, but he would come back even though he couldn't get to it. Just make it look like you're making an effort to catch the ball, and it's a flag on the defender if they're playing the receiver and not the ball. So that's what Shanahan was saying, that Bourne will learn from it. And Bourne, like Nick said, even admitted that he will learn from it, and he's got to be better. He's got to come back for the ball. I think Bourne tweeted that out.
He did. He said, "I gotta come back for that ball." That's exactly what he tweeted. And listen, guys, we're not saying that the ball wasn't underthrown. That's not what we're saying. Like we agree that it was a duck, it was an underthrown pass. We understand that. We're just saying, as a wide receiver, you guys are criticizing Dante Pettis for not making an effort in alligating arming a pass, or not making the effort to go grab a pass that was just looked like it was out of his reach. But Kendrick Bourne, we can't criticize him for not going up to make a play on a ball. Come on, man. We can't be two-faced like that. We can't be that. We got to be the same way for all the receivers. Our expectations need to say, listen, go get the ball. Just like when you play football, your coach said, if your fingers touch that ball, then it's what? It's catchable. Thank you. We all knew that. We said it in unison. So Kendrick Bourne knows now, from now on, hey, some of these balls are going to be underthrown. Excuse me. Some of these passes are going to be underthrown. Shut up, Mike. And and I gotta have wits as a wide receiver. That's what I gotta do. I gotta have wits. I gotta have the wide receiver wits. I gotta know. You know what I'm saying? And so Nick said, if I tweeted it, I said if Deebo was in this game, he would have had a field day, because the one thing he does, and he goes after the ball. Do I need to remind you what he did in Baltimore? Because that ball wasn't even thrown to him. It was thrown to a spot.
Right.
And he went and grabbed it over who?
4th and 2.
Or over who? Earl Thomas.
I got you, bro.
He went and reached up and grabbed it. So that's my point. And maybe Jimmy just didn't have that comfort zone of wide receivership on the field, and he was just timid. That's how he looked. He played timid.
Look, you can go back to a Deebo Samuel play last year in Baltimore. The ball was underthrown on Marcus Peters. Deebo went up and got it, came down with it, and scored. If you guys remember, at like the 5-yard line.
Yeah, I just said, yep.
So this isn't about not criticizing Jimmy for the underthrow, but it was
a bad throw, right? We got that.
It was a bad throw. It was an underthrow, but the receiver.
But there was still another play. There was another play to be made on that ball.
Correct. And every pass is not going to be 100% in your money wheelhouse, but you're a receiver, and there's times where your receiver has to make your quarterback look good, and there's times your quarterback makes your receiver look good. It works hand in hand.
And the last thing I'm going to say on this, Shanahan even said the same thing about the 4th down play. Now, I haven't
Taylor. Thank you, Mike.
Yes, I haven't made it that far in my rewatch yet on any of them, because I've been watching one quarter over and over and over, going to the next one. But when Shanahan said that, even Trent Taylor needed to come back for that 4th down to make a better effort. He probably could have drawn the flag also. So it's not just a Kendrick Bourne critique. It's not just that. This is a critique on the receivers who aren't those guys yet.
Right.
He said Trent Taylor made a hitch a little too long at the top of his route.
And Jimmy held the ball a little too long.
And Jimmy was late on the throw.
Yes. That's what he
on
said.
The Trent Taylor thing.
And he said
he blamed it on Trent Taylor, and he blamed it on Jimmy.
Absolutely.
And so that's the thing, guys. Like, we're not criticizing these guys as we're giving up on them. But I bet you what, Kendrick Bourne's going to fight for every damn pass that he possibly can. Learning from it.
Kendrick Bourne kept us in that game toward the end of the stretch, and had we kept going across the middle of the field, I'm sure we would have been closer in the end zone to maybe try to run it in, opposed to trying to throw those balls, throw those passes. How come I can't say passes? I don't know why. I don't know. Do we get paid for saying balls?
I mean, technically, Manscaped does cop us a little something for talking about the ball.
Because for some reason I can't get balls off of my mind. But passes.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Brian. Follow that up, Brian. I dare you. Go ahead, man.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
I'm waiting for the comments to come in because they're on their way. I can feel it. I can feel it.
All right, we didn't answer this other one.
Okay, go ahead.
Mark Espinoza said no excuses for Jimmy, $27 million man. Who were his wide receivers in 2017? How much experience did he have with them when he was balling out? He has 3 years in the system now and 1 full year now, and is garbage.
I don't think he's garbage, but I know that you guys are talking right now about these receivers being responsible for coming back and making plays. And if they happen to make a penalty happen during those plays, great. but it's still on Jimmy G to get them the ball.
It is.
You know, that's what he's getting paid to do. That's why he's got the contract he's got. Now it may be team friendly, and you know, we could actually cut him next year if we want to, but I don't think that would be beneficial for this team at all. So everybody who's, you know, down on Jimmy G right now, you need to remember what we are. We're faithful, and you need to be that way right now.
And not only that, there's no quarterback that throws every pass perfectly.
Thank you.
As much as people love Patrick Mahomes, there's a reason why Andy Reid goes out and gets these speedy receivers with quick feet. It's so that they can adjust to the inaccurate passes that Patrick Mahomes throws and give them a chance to be caught. There's a reason. Patrick Mahomes' arm is so good and so big that Andy Reid needs to make sure that I get the fastest guys in every draft. Hopefully he doesn't overthrow these guys.
Can you pause right there for a second? Because you're speaking knowledge out of an encyclopedia of Mike. Listen, that is important. They've built receivers around their quarterback that they paid for 100 years, right? Mm-hmm. They said, I'm going to get you the pieces that are going to make you shine. What do you think Kyle Shanahan is trying to do? Why do you think he didn't call plays, Nick, for the wide receivers? And Brian, why do you think you heard him screaming on the field to Jimmy where to throw the ball? Like he didn't want him to throw it to certain people. So we're not talking about that. I'm surprised. But listen, there's something. They got to build the team around. We want Jimmy to be great. Jimmy likes to throw the balls to space. Jimmy likes to throw his passes to space. Nick can say ball in, and y'all can say ball this. And as soon as I say it, it's, oh my God, Breezy, you said balls. No, let's seriously look, guys.
Balls.
When we had Emmanuel Sanders, where did Emmanuel Sanders? Did he ever throw a ball to Emmanuel Sanders? A couple of passes, but most of his passes were to like this space. And that was what made Jimmy G look like, oh my gosh, he can throw these type of passes. Where the other wide receivers, are they creating separation? Absolutely. Are they getting open? Yes. But now you're saying they got to be pinpoint on the money to the wide receiver's hands for them to catch it. And that's just not normal football. It's just not.
That's what I was saying earlier. I think that whether it's his confidence or not, I think his anticipation to put the ball where it needs to be to lead his receivers is lacking. And people will argue that his receivers are not where they're supposed to be. And, you know, maybe they ran into issues while they were in their routes, but it doesn't negate the fact that he still needs to be better. He needs to process that information better. And, you know, I don't know. Go ahead, Mike, you got something to say?
No, we're going to get better. We're going to bounce back from this. And I'm just looking through these comments here, and we thank everybody for the contributions, by the way. I don't know if we've officially thanked anybody, but all of them, the guy said that, Jimmy needs to play like Jimmy G and not porn star Jimmy and all that. We've tried to get them all up here on the stream. Mark Lamar, I wasn't comparing one receiver's play to the other guy. I don't know if anybody else was. And then Khaled here. This isn't the same Khaled. This is a different one, right? This is a different Khaled. He says Bourne got held on his double move. That's why timing was off. Same PI they called on Mosley. Go back and look at the play. He was held on the double move, and I believe it. But we can't cry over spilt milk. The team wouldn't do it, so I won't sit here and do it either. But this is one thing I do know: those receivers were working, and if those are the worst receivers on this team, we are in good hands. We will get better. We will improve. This team is going to surprise some people, and I know it's one game. And I said it as soon as at halftime. I said whether we win this game or not, I said this team, I still believe is a 13-win team. We're going to be okay. We haven't talked about the defense. We haven't talked about the special teams. And I know you guys said you only want to do like a 45, 50-minute show. Wherever you guys want to go from here, I'm going to try to stick it out. My cigar is at the nub here. I got to run back inside soon. See the little baby. But whatever you guys want to do, go ahead, Nick. I think Nick is on mute.
My bad. Mark, we'll get this last contribution from Mark real quick. He says, my point was he came in 2017 with no experience in this system and balled out with wide receivers that weren't all that great. What's his excuse now? And he's had 3 years in the system and a full year now.
That's a good question, but let's talk about who those wide receivers were. because let's mention those wide receivers that weren't all that great, because they seem like they're better wide receivers or veteran wide receivers over the wide receivers that we have now, who are still young and developing. But let's talk about the ones who weren't great. Who do we have in 2017?
So his first touchdown pass was to
Lewis Murphy Jr.
Lewis Murphy, who was a former Raider.
He was a veteran.
He was a speed demon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a veteran speed demon. He had Marquise Goodwin year one.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Bourne was here, if I'm not mistaken. Trent Taylor was here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. George Kittle was here.
I feel like there's another receiver I'm forgetting.
And we're also talking about pre-injury Jimmy G too. I think we need to throw that disclosure in there. Now I know you don't have to agree with it, but this was before the ACL tear.
Oh, Pierre Garçon, man.
Yeah, Pierre.
God, no. I don't think Jimmy played with Pierre. I thought he only played 8 games.
Pierre was hurt. Yeah, Pierre.
Well, yeah. He was on the squad that year, but he would have been hurt by the time Jimmy got there.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying. But there was another
Aldrick Robinson.
That's God dang it, Nick. That's who it was. It was Aldrick Robinson. That's who it was.
The fast guy. Another fast guy.
I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even think it was anything that you guys said. Pre-injury, the receivers. It was a simplified playbook.
Could have been that.
Yes.
That's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
that's
exactly what it was.
It was predetermined plays. You don't know the playbook. You only been here for 3 weeks, so when you drop back, throw here. If it's not there, throw it away. That's what Jimmy G did well. And so because it was a predetermined play, now they're asking him to read. They're asking him to make a decision.
Wait a minute. Because everybody is talking about how Kyler Murray balled out and he did this and did that. Let's go check his stats, because they were just a little bit better than Jimmy's, if that, with an interception. But guess what he was playing with? A predetermined type playbook. He had one read. It was Hopkins. And if that read wasn't open, I swear to God, go back and watch it. Did the defense not shut his ass down the whole first half? Every time he was trying to throw to other places, it was an overthrow this, overthrow that, underthrow, 3 and out, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, when they started to do the quick speed up game, I'm transitioning to the defense if you haven't noticed. When we tried to do the quick speed up game, all of a sudden, our defense was getting like tired on the field. He was starting to throw all these quick throws across the middle. Hopkins was eating up on Mosley, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Guess what, though? When we were able to finally take away Hopkins from whatever reason, and he wouldn't go to Hopkins, what did he do?
Ran the football.
He ran the football, guys. He ran the football. All I'm saying is, it typically happens to guys that are still trying to learn their coaches' systems. You're going to get that. We saw with Colin Kaepernick. We saw with other quarterbacks that we've dealt with. Jimmy G is, I'm not saying he's still learning. It's apparent. It's clear as present danger. He's still learning the playbook. Maybe the playbook's too complicated. Maybe Kyle's just going to have to figure out a way to dial stuff back. I don't know. All I'm saying is Jimmy will bounce back. Jimmy will throw 5 touchdowns in a game. And you guys are going to praise Jimmy G for being the greatest quarterback of all time.
I don't think Jimmy is still learning the playbook. I think
the playbook, maybe.
I think Jimmy can finish Kyle's sentences at this point when he starts to call a play.
But it still comes down to performing it, Mike, and that's where Jimmy is struggling. Woo,
Niner, chill.
Relax, man. He's gonna kill somebody. Stop it, Bobby. I'm sorry, guys. I don't remember what I was saying.
You don't think that you said that Jimmy can complete Kyle's sentences, so you don't think it's not that he has to learn the playbook.
Yes, I don't think that Jimmy is trying to learn the playbook. I think what happened yesterday, I think what happened on Sunday was just that Jimmy, I really do think it was nerves. I know that we say that preseason is pointless. I heard Richard Sherman say that preseason is the most pointless, unneeded thing in the NFL. And I disagree. I disagree with it a little bit. I understand what he was saying. I understand that, good players get hurt and, they miss out on entire seasons and all that stuff. But I still refuse to say that it's not necessary. But what I do think is that Jimmy, he just had to get comfortable. And it was an off game. It was a one-off.
It's weird. It's weird for you to say that. I know it
No,
ended
no,
that way. But it started on. This dude was like 7 for 7 until that
5
one
of
third.
7, yeah. 5
Until
of 7,
I
4
told you it
touchdowns.
was 5 or 7 until
Yeah,
that
I went
one
back and watched. I was
that
wrong.
1/3 down pass that Trent Taylor, it was out of his reach. I'm not gonna front. That pass was a little bit off, but
And-
again, it just didn't look like Trent tried to make a play on the ball. This is probably why he didn't go to Trent.
This team is never that bad on third down. This game was an anomaly. And this is what, here's the weird thing, right? Check this out, right? We know how hard the Cardinals played the Niners both games last year. If this game happened in week 7 or 8, we wouldn't be having this big of a discussion on it. But because it's the very first game of the season, we're like, damn, the Niners did this. Here's the crazy thing, right? As bad as we looked the entire second half or after Kittle's injury, we were still like 7 inches away from winning that game. If Jimmy threw that pass to Bourne 7 inches deeper than he did, that game is a win, and we feel completely different. We say, damn, Kyle was able to tuck plays away and still win that game.
Or if we're playing the or if game, if the refs just would have called that touchdown, that was a touchdown because it was clearly a touchdown. If they just would have called it the way it was, and we didn't lose our challenge on that, because we had to challenge it or whatnot, then again, we would have been winning the game. And that's what I'm talking about. Those are the swings that I'm talking about that changes the way teams play. You see it in basketball all the time, right? Teams go on runs, and then as soon as a team gets into foul trouble, how do you play them? You can't play aggressive. So with football, it's almost like the same way. You don't score a touchdown. You give them the ball back. Momentum shifts. Now your defense got to try to stop them at the 1-yard line. They drive all the way down the field and miss a field goal. Like stuff like that happens, man. And we're gonna move forward. We're gonna bounce on, man. And I'm ready to move on, guys, to the New York Football Jets. That's what I want to talk about. And I know
you talking about that 4th and 1 with Mostert, right?
I'm talking about the 4th and 1 with Mostert.
Why are you not talking about a 4th and 1 with Wilson? That's what I want to know.
So
that was the overreaction show. We did that. We did.
I know, but I still want to know.
so I text Kyle and he hasn't texted me back. I'm chalking it up, Brian, to the simple fact that Jeff Wilson wasn't part of the game plan.
But
must have been with the receivers. Got it.
Yeah, but he wasn't part of the game plan in Arizona when he took the one snap and won the game either.
I hear you,
but here's the thing with that, right? When you see Mostert, you don't expect a draw. You don't expect a run up the middle. No one does. I was surprised when that play happened, right?
So
if I'm surprised when I watched that play happen, don't you think that means the defense was surprised also? See, again, we have to look at what the outcome was supposed to be. If that play had worked, it would have been,
You're talking about the surprise element. So they're like, Mostert never gets the ball here on the goal line. He's not gonna run it.
Right. And now we're thinking, and so that's what it is. Like, we talk about the genius, right? See, when we call an offensive coordinator a genius, it's because they think of ways that other people don't, and it works. That's the thing. They're a genius if it works. Otherwise, it's like, what the hell were you doing? Because if that play had to work, we'd have been like, yo, Mostert's the goal line carrier? Where did that come from? All of a sudden, Kyle's a genius, right? No one saw that coming. If it worked, if the call went the way it was supposed to.
They might not have been expecting it because it's not something that we do. But I also think that Arizona was like, it doesn't matter because we can stop Mostert.
We're going to stop. Yeah. Now, I do think this, though. I want to ask you guys this question about the defense. And I don't know what this entire comment on the screen says, but what I noticed was that they did not play Ford and Bosa on the field a lot at the same time. And I want to ask you guys this question. And I won't go into it a lot, but I want to ask you this simply put. Do you think that was a one-off for mobile quarterbacks? Because we only play mobile quarterbacks 4 times this year, and both of them are Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson.
We play him 5 times. No, we still got Josh Allen, who would take the ball and run your ass over with, and he's a mobile quarterback. You might not think it, but he's mobile.
I look
he's
at
mobile in the sense of like Kaepernick was mobile. Like he can move if he needs to, but it's not his primary.
Right. That's what I mean. Like I think that there are designed run plays for Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson.
We didn't have design run plays for Colin Kaepernick.
Wait, that's not. You got to hear me out. You got to hear me out. What I'm saying is, they will come up. There's a section of their playbook with runs for a guy like Kyler Murray and a guy like Russell Wilson.
We got Cam Newton too. Don't forget him.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just wondering because I counted so far only 3 plays on 3rd and longs where it was Ford and Bosa on the field at the same time.
Gotcha.
And I think that the staff was trying to keep one guy fresh while the other one took a break and mixing it up and stuff like that. Do you guys think that's going to be the norm for this year?
Were you just looking at the ends though? Because there were a lot of times they played next to each other on the same side.
I'm talking about on opposite ends. Yes, I'm talking about.
Well, I'm just saying there were a lot of times they played on the same side.
I only saw that twice. People were saying that to me, but I've only seen it twice. And I'm not done watching. I'll go back and watch the 4th quarter, but I'm not done watching. But I didn't see that a lot either, like people were telling me.
I don't know, man. I don't even think our defensive line played well at all, to be honest with you.
Oh, I disagree with that. I saw a lot.
They were getting pressures. They were getting there.
They did their jobs, but then only one of our linebackers was doing his.
Who? Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. Quan Alexander was dookie this game.
See, I can't call a guy dookie that he had the 2nd most tackles, right? He forced 3 fumbles.
Right. I can't call that guy dookie because if all 3 of those fumbles were recovered, we'd have been like, yo, Fred Warner's the MVP of the game.
How many missed tackles he have?
But everybody has missed tackles, bro. Fred Warner missed tackles. You just said Fred Warner did his job.
But Quan Alexander had so many missed tackles, and most of them went for first downs.
How many missed tackles, Nick? Because if it's so many, because I didn't see him miss so many.
He had at least 5 missed tackles.
I think he had 4. I'm not sure. I don't have any stats in front of me. I think I counted 4. But
the D-line was getting their pressures, opening up the floodgates, and then Quan Alexander just couldn't. And then he would come over, somebody else would go to make the tackle, and Quan would punch the ball out. There was not once where Quan punched the ball out on his own.
But that's what it's supposed to do. That's design. One guy holds him up and the other guy punches it out. But 3 of the missed tackles that I saw for Quan were on the quarterback. I'm not going to fault him for not being able to tackle little 5'2" Kyler Murray.
Is he really 5'2"?
No.
I'm like, he my mama height.
Mine too, Wayne. Mine too.
Y'all got some little mamas. My mom is 5'5" with brown eyes. Caramel complexion.
I know.
I like the sunrise. But I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry. I just saying when you're missing tackles on a quarterback who is sliding, and that's another thing too that we haven't discussed on here. And I know we're pressed for time, but I think the tackling of the entire defense changed when those calls on Kyler Murray were happening.
Yeah,
he started scrambling. We get 2 really bad penalties, and now it's like, okay, well, it's 2-hand touch on the quarterback again. And it seemed like people got demoralized. Like they were like, all right, well, we can't tackle him. We just got to let him get his, and then hopefully he slides before it's too big of a game. Like that's BS. Those things change the momentum of the game. They did, because that one on Hyder, let me tell you, that one in particular on Hyder, that was BS, bro. I've never seen a guy
about
get
the one
called.
he slid feet first. The one he slid feet first.
Yes, and then Hyder came in there and he did like the Superman on top of him. Like, I'm not trying to touch him. I don't want to touch him. Kyler Murray ran. He slid feet first. Hyder damn near did a push-up over top of this guy trying to avoid him, and they still threw a flag on him. That changed the demeanor. That changed the demeanor of the defense. These guys were like, well, what do you want us to do? It was so frustrating that even 3 people in the post-game pressers mentioned it.
Have you ever realized when we lose a game, and I'm not saying it's because of penalties, but when the penalties happen, they're always a chunk of them. It's always a chunk in a row. Just think about all the losses we've had in the past couple of the past season and this loss. Think of how those penalties have stacked up to cause drives to stay open. And next thing you know, defense gives up points. Offense can't go down the field and win in the clutch. Like that's how it's been. It's crazy.
Khaled says D Ford killed us on defense. When he is healthy, he flies around the field. He was playing injured. Don't know how bad his injury is. Do we think that he was injured and he didn't look as fast?
I know someone said he was. Someone commented and said something about him, holding his leg or something like that. I didn't see that. I'm not saying you didn't see that, but I didn't see that. And I don't. It just seemed everything seemed different. This game for me, watching this game, after the blocked punt. After the block punt, watching this game just seemed like a Twilight Zone game. The defense didn't seem right. It just seemed different. Like I don't even remember seeing Marcel Harris on the field. Like it just looked weird. Like just players weren't playing. If they were, I didn't know. I thought Nick Bosa was injured, guys. When I didn't see Nick Bosa on the field and didn't come back on the field after a timeout, his ass should be on the field after. Nah. But then all of a sudden he came in after they got a first down. They brought him back in. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like it was an awkward game plan.
I noticed that a lot of guys on the edge, specifically if you're on defense on the left side, so at the top of the screen when you're watching the game, right? I noticed a lot of the guys on that side, they would beat their guy, whether it be a tight end, whether it be a tackle. And once they got past him, they paused to see what Kyler Murray was going to do. Mm-hmm. That is coaching. That's not these guys being afraid to rush the passer. That is playing what they're telling you for this specific game. Eric Armstead did it. Nick Bosa did it. D Ford did it. And what's the safety? Tart did it. These guys would beat the guy, and then they just stopped to see what Murray was going to do.
They just went straight up field. That's their job. Contain. Containment inside. You just go straight. My point.
Right. And I posted some videos of this stuff happening in the chat. I'm like, yo, as soon as he beat his guy, there was hesitation. All right, now what do I do? That was the plan. That was a coaching plan. Now, when we go against these stationary quarterbacks, you guys are going to see it a lot these next 2 weeks. It's going to look completely different.
You're going to be looking at completely different. They're going to be crashing in on the ends. Wishing you want to see Javon Kinlaw get his first sack. It'll probably be in a game like this because those ends are going to be coming in on both sides. You want to see D4 play faster? Just watch this game. And the Jets, I know someone mentioned that the Jets offensive line is probably a little bit better than the Cardinals. I disagree. And I know the Giants offensive line is, Nick, can you say it for me?
Dookie.
It's diarrhea. So all I'm saying is if you want to, so I expect us to get the chunk sacks these next 2 games, right? Who do we got week 4?
Week 4, Philly. So we got
Philly at home and Miami.
Giants, Philly, Miami.
Yep.
Like I said, we could easily be.
And what did I tell y'all? Y'all tried to tell me. Y'all tried to sell me because y'all wanted me to draft his ass. Y'all tried to tell me Carson Wentz was going to be the Dookie, and he is Dookie. That's exactly what he is, and that's why I didn't draft him. I can't believe y'all tried to get me to draft that guy, yo.
I would never try to get you. I wouldn't do that to anybody, bro. I wouldn't even do that to
he started the game off good. I'm like, okay, maybe he's gonna be different, and then he resulted right back to Carson Wentz. Let's just accept this loss. We got beat, right?
Easily. Look, I told you before, and I told somebody else today because I think it was my brother-in-law. He's like, "Is Jimmy G the real thing? Can he win you guys a Super Bowl?" And I'm like, "Look, it's 1 week, right?" So, if anything, I think this loss right here helps us. It gets their mind clicking back to football and saying, okay, it's a regular season. Last year is last year. We got to play football this year if we want to be what we are. And look, it's the Arizona Cardinals. It's a divisional matchup. They always play us hard. I had us losing to Arizona. Now, it was later in the year.
That's the one I had us losing.
But I had us losing to Arizona.
Me too.
So I'm still on record. I could still flip-flop the teams that I lost to.
Right. I'm with you, bro.
But I still had us losing to Arizona one time this year.
I told you we was going.
I didn't expect it to be week 1, but I still had us losing to Arizona this year. It's the divisional games are too hard to match up against because you see each other so much, you know so much about each other, you play each other twice a year, and they're always look. Miami always normally fights the New England Patriots.
And funny how you said normally. Because they sure didn't normally fight them.
I bet you the second game they play them, they play them in a really tight game.
Oh, you're right. No,
so, look, things could be a lot worse, right? Look, we came out of this game we started this game without Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, 2 of our prized receivers, right? We played with Kendrick Bourne, Dante Pettis. Trent Taylor hadn't played a game in, 900 and some odd days? Jerick McKinnon hadn't played a game in almost 1,000 days, right? Trent Williams was new to this lineup. Javon Kinlaw was new to this lineup. So it's week 1. There's nothing to – I'm not throwing out the team. I still think we can be 13-3.
We going 15-1, dog. That's what
I only got us losing 2 more games.
I don't think about that, but I think we can. I think there's 2 more games we could lose.
I got 8 and 10. Week 8 and 10.
Week 8 and 10. So that's 7 is New England, 8 is who?
Seattle. That's my loss because we're going to Seattle after flying from New England. And who's week 10? Green Bay or New Orleans?
I think it's New Orleans.
New Orleans. You had that loss too, Nick. I got us winning that game.
No, I had losses to Buffalo. Seattle.
Nah.
Look, this team is going 13-3 until we lose 4. I'm sticking with it. Bro. I'm sticking with it.
I'm with you, Mike. I'm with you.
I love it.
There's not 4 losses on this schedule, and you give one to any divisional opponent because you never know how it's going to go.
Exactly.
These stationary quarterbacks are going to be screwed. I promise you. When this team passes up on the edge rusher like Ziggy Ansah, like they did today, they have faith in these guys. They have faith, and let me tell you, people were worried about Dee Ford. We passed up on him twice.
They passed up on him because he wanted too much money. That's a different type of pass up because they also brought him in, Mike. So
but they brought him in earlier and they still let his ass go.
Right,
because this is the second time.
They thought he would take less money.
More money.
They said, but they said Dion was better.
No.
How do you compare those two?
I didn't hear them.
No.
Oh, no, hell no. They didn't say that Dion looked better.
Dion's here. He's on the roster.
Because he cost $5. Yo, if you could get somebody for $5, I'm going to get, but then you're going to have to deal with a $5 discount, right?
They can call me. I'll play for $5.
Right, exactly.
One play, Brian. One play. But you better be Rudy out there, motherfucker. I tell you what, you better go. Yo, that came on the other night too, by the way, man.
Oh,
I can't watch that shit. It makes me cry every time I see it.
Every time.
But
I've never
his
cried
dad in
about
the stadium or his dad in the stands.
Just when Rock starts giving that speech, man, I start tearing up. But go ahead, guys. Go ahead, Nick.
All right, so let's we're not going to dig too much more into next week, but I do have a question for you guys. And what are your thoughts on, the way that Jimmy G's been playing and now we bring in another wide receiver in Mohamed Sanu? What are your thoughts on Mohamed Sanu, how he fits into the system? Is he going to play this week? What are your thoughts on that? And does this move make us better? And I'm not meaning better right now because obviously having a veteran in there right now makes us a little bit better than what we are without Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. But does it make us better for this year?
Everybody answer that question and the one that's on the screen. If we lose to the Jets, do you panic? So what are your thoughts on this new signing and if it makes us better? And then your thoughts on if we lose to the Jets, do we panic?
Oh, if we lose to the Jets, I riot. Fuck a panic. Yeah, that's what I'm doing straight up. I got stuff too. So how about we all just answer that first and then we'll get back to the other question. Yo.
I won't be happy about it if we lose, but I'm not going to lose faith in what the rest of the season. I don't think we're there.
I love it.
Yeah, no, if we lose to the Jets, I do panic. I don't think their defense is good enough to stop a Shanahan offense, and I don't think their offense is good enough to compete against our defense. I'm looking for a very one-sided game. I never go on the record this early saying that, but I'm looking for a very one-sided game.
Yep.
A very one-sided game. So I'm talking Cleveland 49ers from last year. I expect a game like that.
I'm talking Panthers 49ers last year.
Wait, so Mike, you're going Cleveland 49ers like last year when didn't you have like Cleveland like playing a really close game with us?
Oh, so no. Nick, you want to bring that? Oh, wait, whoa, Mike, whoa. You know, Mike is probably
whoa.
Mike brought the Cleveland. Oh, one of y'all brought the Cleveland guy on. Mike was definitely giving Cleveland a lot of praise in that game, but I don't remember what he thought. Cleveland
I gave their defensive line
their defensive line was better than our defensive line.
Their defensive
on paper, they have a great team. They should be phenomenal, but they are not.
Factors.
And that's exactly what I said. That's all I ever said. I said the Niners win that game, and it's not it's like good. Like we're good. All I said was they had a good defensive front. That's all I said. Now everyone's like, oh, you think Cleveland Browns are better than the Niners? Shut up. That's not what I said.
I didn't ever say that you thought that they were better than us. I just said that you thought it was going to be a close game and not to count it. That's all I was saying. You said it was going to be a close game That's all. Of
I
course,
thought
I'm panicking. I'm definitely panicking if the Jets beat us. The reason I'm panicking is because we're 0-2.
All right.
And it's
And
very hard to come out of an 0-2 hole, especially in the NFC West. The teams are just too good in the NFC West. So starting off the season 0-2, if you were in the NFC East, 0-2 is fine. But if you're in the NFC West at 0-2 and you already lost the division game, yeah, it's time to panic.
Very much so.
So
second question was about what?
The addition of new.
It's the new. All right. So why don't we go backwards? You started first, and I'll end it this time.
Wait. Can I go first? Because I got to go.
Yeah.
Because I'm down to
No,
6% of my.
absolutely, Mike. You cannot go first.
All I got is this, man. I think it's a new signing. I think it's a new signing is a sign. It's a reflection of the hamstring injury to Richie James. Not that I don't think that he can bring anything here, but I think that if Richie James is okay, we're getting Ayuk back this week. I don't think that the team makes this move. I think they are more likely to bump up somebody from the practice squad, whether it be the Craycraft or White. I think that would be more likely the case if Richie James was still healthy. But I think that this injury to James is a little bit more severe than they think. He might miss a week or two. And so because of that, you got to get another guy to come in here that can do a couple of things. So that's my take on it. I'm going to jump out, though. You guys rock out, man. Let me make sure I don't hit end. How do I get out of here without ending?
I have no idea. Don't know what you're on your screen. So,
all right, Mike.
It worked.
Brian, what do you think?
All right. So I'm not a huge fan of Sanu, but I do have. Obviously, the team has a reason they brought him in, whether that's just because he has history in the system and should be able to pick it up fairly quickly. My concerns are twofold. One, he doesn't have chemistry with Jimmy yet. I mean, as of Arizona's game, it didn't look like Jimmy had chemistry with anybody, but he doesn't have chemistry there. So there's lacking. So I'm a little bit concerned about how productive he might be if they try to throw him in here right off the bat, right? Like he understands the offense, but the timing, the things that they work on in training camp and all offseason when they were in Tennessee, they didn't have that to build that timing, that route running, to understand where he's going to be on the field when he makes that toss. But my other concern is, Belichick's not stupid. Why did he release him? Like what is really wrong with his ankle? And is our medical staff think that it's good enough that it's not going to be a problem for the season? Or are they bringing him in hopes that he will be better in a couple of weeks? Or, I don't know. I don't expect him to have a huge impact this first game. And I was on reading through the comments and stuff when people were looking and reacting to the signing. And it seems like a lot of people feel like this is a godsend, if you will. And I don't think that he's going to be the savior of the team. I don't think he brings that veteran presence that Sanders did last year. And so I think that will benefit the room. But I think that his lack of time with Jimmy is gonna take a little while before he's as effective as we think that he can be.
We're talking about a guy with who was the number 2 in a Kyle Shanahan system, who caught 66 passes and 838 yards, 4 touchdowns.
How many years ago?
He changed systems.
How many injuries ago?
Again, changed systems.
So those are my concerns.
And you should have those concerns, right? We should have concerns when we bring in people that were injured. I get it. Bill Belichick gets rid of guys because he can't get what he needs to get out of them. We watched him get rid of Randy Moss because he didn't show up to a practice in the snow. So, I mean, Bill Belichick gets rid of guys for however he got rid of Josh Gordon, and then Josh Gordon turns around because I thought they said it was injury, then it came down to something else, obviously. But then Josh Gordon goes out to Seattle and plays rather decent until he smokes weed again, right? So he gets rid of guys for his own purposes. And I think we're getting a guy that knows Kyle Shanahan the same way we are happy with, I think, a Trent Williams. I think we're going to be okay with having a Sanu back into an offense that he's comfortable with, back into a system that he kind of knows how to work. He knows where to be. He knows that Matt Ryan throws balls to spots as well. I'm not saying he's going to replace an Emmanuel Sanders or whatnot, but remember, it came down to these two guys. I don't know if y'all remember that. Like it was Sanders or Sanu. Sanu wanted more money. Patriots paid him a bigger bill or whatever. He goes to the Patriots. He just can't. He can't get it. He can't get it to work with Tom Brady. So I think he'll be able to get it to work with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think this is an addition because now having Sanu all of a sudden in this offense, and then when you get Deebo back, you have Ayuk out there. Now we're talking about some weapons that defenses are going to have to account for because you can't cover everybody, right? We can't. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but is it better because Sanu's here or because we get our other young receivers back?
I think having Sanu here helps just the offense flow. You got to remember last year our offense struggled the first 3 games.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Even though we beat Tampa, I thought we beat Tampa. The offense was okay, but the defense really stepped up. Had a couple of interceptions, pick sixes, right?
Two pick sixes.
Two pick sixes, right? And then in the second game was against the Bengals. I think that was a pretty lopsided game, right? And then we couldn't score for crap against the Steelers. Right, we were struggling. We turned the ball over 5 times, blah, 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 whatever. And then all of a sudden we go ahead and we sign Emmanuel Sanders. Now you're starting to see the emergence of like Kendrick Bourne and Deebo. Like it took a lot of pressure off of a rookie because he was able to run different types of things. I just think having Sanu here would allow Kyle Shanahan to do stuff that he's comfortable with and then work these other guys into the system. I think that's what it is because we still don't know what Brandon Ayuk is going to do. Why? He's a rookie. But we're excited to have him, right? But what has he produced in the NFL? Zero. Right. Right. And
it's funny because we all sit here and talk about why did Bill Belichick let him walk? And another guy that Bill Belichick let walk was Chad Ochocinco.
He lets him go, man.
Right. But you guys brought up Moss. Well, Breezy brought up Moss, and you brought up Gordon, and now you got
these are
Ochocinco. All 3 guys who have something going on upstairs that's not football related.
And AB. We forgot about AB.
Yeah. Well, AB was playing the game. I think he did what he wanted to do because he wanted to be with the Patriots to begin with. But this is about Niners, so let's not talk about that.
But they were all nuts.
But
they were all crazy.
My theory on this whole thing is, and my thought process actually, I should say, on this whole thing is there's people commenting, and I see people talking about, well, what's Sanu going to do for us? He's old. He's this. He's that. I see all of y'all talk the same ish when the Niners brought over Emmanuel Sanders.
Yep.
All of y'all talk the same ish.
Oh yeah.
Why he wasn't performing over there? Why did the Niners go and get him? They should have got Mohamed Sanu instead. Blah 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 blah. All this other bullshit.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we were looking at Sanu and Sanders last year, the Falcons wanted a higher pick than we were willing to give them, but the Patriots bought Sanu before, so we ended up taking Sanders after.
Correct.
I just want to make sure I got the timeline right.
Right. So everybody was complaining that we didn't put the money up for Mohamed Sanu, and instead we got Emmanuel Sanders. And we all know how Emmanuel Sanders worked out for the 49ers last year. He definitely gave us a boost and pushed us to a playoff. So why not make a move if he's there on the free agency list right now? And I think that the reason he's not there anymore is because of the talent that they got there, and they got another second-year guy in there in N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, they got to give him room.
Who is a rookie the year before when they needed Mohamed Sanu, and now they no longer need Mohamed Sanu because N'Keal Harry has taken the steps forward that he needed to do in the offense.
The same reason why we didn't re-sign Emmanuel Sanders.
Exactly. Emmanuel Sanders was too much money, and other guys like Deebo Samuel were taking the position to where they needed to be in the NFL. I don't think it has anything else to do with it. I just think it has the talent that was behind him is younger and took the step forward that they needed to move on. Now, Mohamed Sanu is not going to come here and give you 1,000 yards.
No, that's
if you think Mohamed Sanu is going to come here and give you 1,000 yards, then you're setting yourself up for failure. He's going to be here as a as a mentor, as a guy to get us past these injuries, and a guy who can fill in and rotate to give our other guys breaths and breathers. And that's pretty much what Mohamed Sanu is here. If you get 400, 350 yards out of Mohamed Sanu and 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, he did his job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in disagreement with you at all, Nick. I think that he makes the team better, the room better, the wide receiver room better. I just don't know how soon his impact is going to be felt. Like it seemed, or last year when the first game that Emmanuel Sanders stepped into, there was an immediate change in the flow of Jimmy's thought processes, his ability to find, and maybe it just because it changes where receivers were lined up on the field, different receivers in places they weren't normally, and maybe they functioned better that way. My concern is how quickly he will have an impact. Not that he won't make the team better, because I think that he does. He makes that room better. I'm concerned about, like, he's not going to, I don't see him being as a big of impact on Sunday against the Jets as maybe 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, once him and Jimmy have had some practices together.
Right.
To be fair,
everybody keeps saying, why didn't we? I wanted Taylor Gabriel. Why can't we go get Taylor Gabriel? Well, because he opted out. He's not even playing 2020.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think they don't remember that. Nick.
So stop with the Taylor Gabriel stuff. Look, the Niners needed a receiver. They went out and got a receiver in Mohamed Sanu. You guys can never be happy.
Right. Well, everybody's talking about wanting to trade for Allen Robinson or OBJ. Or I'm like, we can't fit those numbers under the cap. Even if those guys wanted, I mean, if they wanted to come play for minimal, minimum salary, sure. But in order to get a trade done to get those guys, we have to agree to pay that salary, or they have to upfront agree to take a pay cut before they come to us. Exactly. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And why would we give up our future and draft picks? And our salary for next year, where we don't know. I mean, as far as we know, 175 million, we have to create as much rollover money this year as we can.
Correct. And that's the thing. Look, like I said, if people talk and expect 1,000 yards or 800 yards or even anything over 500 yards from Mohamed Sanu and 6 or 7 touchdowns, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, he is here to fill into a position that will help this team moving forward until we are completely healthy at the wide receiver position. There's no need to go out. Look, if we went out and traded for OBJ, great. If we went out and traded for Allen Robinson, great. That makes our team even better. But we just don't have the money for that. So if you guys want to bring guys back from this defense for next year, bringing a receiver in that's going to cost us a ton of money is not the answer right now. You can get away. We've all seen it. Kyle Shanahan can make wonders with the little bit of receivers that he has and get them open. If Jimmy Garoppolo can get on his ass and get the right way that he needs to be, this team will fill in just fine. So I'm so blown away with the shit talk on bringing in a guy like Mohamed Sanu when I think that he's just going to make us better. And yeah, he's not going to give us a ton of performance.
Can I address something real quick? There's a comment, and I don't remember where it was at now. It talked about the fact that we have Parag, and I am a firm believer that he can work all kinds of magic numbers, but not that magic. There's no way to get someone who wants $14 million a year with the number that we have for next year, unless you're willing to lose a bunch of pieces, or somehow you talk millionaires into taking vet minimum deals.
Yeah, there's a way, though, Brian. It's called having to give the gap. I'm not sure Parag has that, but I think I think Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch can sell water to a well. Like, I really do believe that. And when you're talking about competing for championships, you got to remember, when guys come into the league, they come into the league hot. They're ready to get their money. They want to get paid. They're going to ball out their first 4 years so that they could get that contract, right? And then they get to teams and they get traded around multiple times. And this is not me advocating for OBJ. I'm just saying this is maybe where his brain might be in this mindset right now, right? Dude, I'm on the Browns. People come here to die. Like, I'm here and I'm not going to do anything. OBJ had 30-something yards on 5 catches on Sunday.
But he could have stopped that trade if he wanted to, just like
True.
it happened throughout the league. He wanted the paycheck. That's what drives him.
He I'm not taking that away. That's on him. I get it. That's what drived him. Right now, he just doesn't seem like he wants to be there. And I'm not saying he doesn't want the paycheck. I'm just saying sometimes you got to understand it's not all about the money if you're trying to build your legacy into the National Football League. And if that's something that he's trying to do, I can see a team. I'm not saying the 49ers, but I can see some type of team trying to work some type of word magic with him, some juju to get that guy to say, hey, man, you come here, you're going to compete for multiple championships for the next 5-6 years. Will you be willing to play for this until we're able to work money out or whatever? And it's up to him to decide, or his agent or whatever. But I can see that happening to a guy that's starting to go down, right? That's what he's doing. Starting to go down.
No, I'm with you. It irritates me when people are like, oh, we can just do whatever we want because the cap doesn't matter. And I'm like, it does. And we have, you got Richard who wants to come back for 3 years and he wants to be a Niner. So he's going to work his own deal, but he's going to do it in a way like Brady used to, right? In a way that will make it so the team can be built around the weapons, but you're going to have certain individuals, we got Trent Williams to take care of still, right? That's a huge one. We got the other Williams on the other side of the ball who needs to be taken care of, right? Because he's a great nickel. We should keep him, right? There's no reason to let him go anywhere, but we need to pay these guys, and I don't think that a lot of the fans look at what our cap situation is for next year. Yeah, we may get more money. There may be some miracle the owners pitch in and we get up to 195 or something like that. But right now, as it sits, the contract only has them allowed to be at a minimum of 175 million. And unless we take more money to roll over for next year, it's going to be really hard to make all of those. What did you guys say? I didn't count. It's like 22 free agents for next year or something like that.
Yeah, it's 26, I think, total.
And I don't know how many of those guys are like.
Well, pretty much our entire
secondary
other than Jimmy Ward.
Yeah, a couple guys on offense. The majority is.
I know the secondary is done.
The majority is the secondary. Yeah.
Yeah, the entire secondary except for.
You got Kyle Juszczyk. We got a bunch of guys. We'll do another show based on.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote an article on Juice. I already gave my tidbits on that one. So if you want to, if the people watching the video want to see that, they need to head over to Fan to Fan and read my article about Juice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Fan to Fan Network. Guys, look, man, we went a little over an hour. So we went an hour and 37 minutes. I appreciate you guys. But look, man, I think that the move today was good. I think the game recap was good. I like all your guys' input and things like that. Tomorrow is what? Thursday? Wednesday?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yeah. Wednesday. So I know we'll be bringing you a collab with a Jet Central, Ian, on Friday night, I believe, and then we'll set up another show for sometime this week. It's game week, guys. It's move on.
Yeah, man.
Look, it happens, man. We're look, it's one loss. It's not the end of the world. This team can still literally go 13-3, 15-1. Until they lose 2, they can go 15-1. So, and each week if we lose, then it drops down 14-2, 13-3,
12-4. Got you, bro.
4, yeah. Dude, I'm out of it.
You get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But look, man, appreciate you guys. And I saw a comment up there is like, oh, I love you, Frankie G, but we need to stop you this week. So I can't wait to see how that is, because Le'Veon Bell's on the bench.
He's on the IR, bro. He's on the IR.
Denzel Mims as well. So that's 2 big pieces for them. So we'll see.
As long as we don't let Frank Gore run for 100 yards, I'm good. That better not happen.
Yeah, I know.
You're just moving them up on the all-time leaders board, man.
That better not happen against us. It can happen against any other team, just not us. I'm sorry, yo. We need to really.
No, I'm with you.
They need to go out there and really put their stamp on the NFL. And I don't care if it's the Jets. I don't care if it's a team that's, inferior to a team. I don't care. They need to go out there and put a good old can of, butt whipping on another team. That's what they need to do, and give them some juju going into the, the stretch of this season, first stretch of the season, first quarter of the season. They got to figure it out, and I believe that they will.
Yeah, and they just signed who? Balaj?
Yes.
Who signed?
Yeah.
The Jets.
The Jets signed Kenny Balaj.
Yeah.
Shoot. He's another Miami running back. Now we know what happened to the other Miami running back that got traded to the Arizona Cardinals at that time. We cannot let that happen. We have not seen this kid play before. We cannot let him just bust up on the middle. Like, we can't. No, not happening. Sorry. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And anyway, just because I wasn't on the overreaction show, Nightstick Nick, what was it? A hit, right?
Yeah,
Trent Williams, bro.
that was nice. Nice.
Trent Williams. That's the only one I could go for. That was the biggest hit of the game.
That hit was crazy.
That was
So
nice.
I couldn't catch up with you guys after the game, and my apologies on that. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, man. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Give us a follow on all of our social media avenues. That's Twitter and Snapchat, nothing but 9 ERS right there below Brian. Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, nothing but Niners, all spelled out. Website, www.nothingbutniners.com. We're going to try to get Brian to start writing over there so you guys can get a little bit of feedback over there as well. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, give us an email, nb9ers@nothingbutniners.com. Shop nb9ers.com for all your merchandise for us over here. And above all else, that's all I got. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful.
We out of here. Peace.